I was just wondering, is it possible to introduce the students just to get an idea of the names?
More loud and very strong. Anyways, some of you please come in front so that she can focus properly. Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Is it possible to just to hear to get introduced to some of the students, just their name and the major they're in, like what their degree they're pursuing?
Hi, I'm Rehnuma.
You come here and just tell about yourself.
Uh,
So, hi, I'm Rehnuma. I'm 82. I'm from Afghanistan, and my English major is PPE, Politics of Psychology.
okay, great. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Shabnam from Afghanistan. My major is actual PPE and Politics, Economy, and Philosophy.
Wonderful. Great to meet you.
Please come on, everyone. Come on.
Don't need to be shy.
Hello, I'm Ying. I'm from Vietnam, and my major is public health.
Okay, great.
Hello, my friend Shira. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm planning to take economics as a major.
Nice. Great.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Shaista from Afghanistan, and my major is also PPE.
Great, thank you.
Please come on, everyone. Don't be shy.
Hi, I'm Fatima from Afghanistan, and my major is economics.
Wonderful.
Okay, ma'am, you can start.
Hey, great to meet you all, the wonderful young ladies there. I just arrived 2 days ago. Just a little bit before we start the session, just a little bit about me. Can you hear me clearly, loud and clear? Okay, great. I did my undergrad in economics from Bangladesh, from North South University in International Trade and Development. Then I left to do my master's in environmental science in Netherlands. And then I pursued my PhD from Penn State University in health and human development. So you can see that I've been all around. I was trying to gather knowledge from different areas. And now I am teaching, as an assistant professor at the State University of New York. In the Department of Health and Human Development. So I'm enjoying the interaction, but at the same time, I'm starting a foundation, a Ray for Hope Foundation, working on youth development, promoting education, and also extracurricular activities and complementary activities for education. So that's one of my interests, trying to start a publishing house as well. And also I'm initiating a global workshop project with State University of New York, where we are going to integrate students and faculties from all around the world. So it can be online classes, interactive seminars, so we get to learn from each other from the globalized perspective. So that's what I'm involved in right now. But before I start, because we are on entrepreneurship, so we are going to talk about entrepreneurship. I'm curious, what if you can give me some ideas when I ask about what are some characteristics do you think an entrepreneur do need? What are some major characteristics of an entrepreneur? Can anybody provide me with some characteristics of entrepreneurship. And Rasul, if you can also help me out, like reiterating what they're saying, sometimes the word might not come clearly. Anybody? Any characteristic? Who do you think would be an ideal entrepreneur? What are some characteristics they should have? You all have that in you, so you can identify it. Anything? What makes you an entrepreneur? Come on, you guys know it. No idea? Louder, anybody? What?
You know, it's so far better. Can you just encourage her to know?
Can you, Ratu, can you just reiterate it? Well, I did not understand. Anybody mention any characteristics? Yeah, I think it's muffled up. But anyway, how many of you think that an entrepreneur needs creativity? Raise your hand if you think creativity is one of the important characteristics. Do you think creativity is an important skill? Okay, great. And can you name any entrepreneur who has promoted creativity in this world? Anyone? Go ahead.
Muhammad Yunus.
Louder?
Muhammad Yunus is from Bangladesh.
Yes, exactly, Professor Mohammed Yunus. So he came up with an idea. Great job. He came up with an idea of microfinancing. Now he's spreading the idea all across the world. And that's what creativity is all about. You come up with an idea, then you start planning, you get everything together, and you start promoting it all across the world. And that's why you need passion. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to have the passion to do it. If you do not have the passion, you cannot go far and you cannot sustain it. So that's why creativity is one, and then its passion is another big characteristic. For me, I have started, I was always curious about people. What makes people unique? Why do we need to learn? Why is knowledge important? And I was observing all the things in USA, in Netherlands, in Bangladesh. And from there, I found out that there is a gap. So sometimes there is a gap in learning. There is a gap of promoting well-being. And that is why me and my friends get together and talked about what do we need to do. So we can go to the coaching center, we're learning things, but are we learning to be better human beings? So that's why one of the mission statement of the foundation we are starting is to building better human beings for the future. So they are not just successful in their career, they're successful all throughout their life, and they become better. In morality and ethics, they want to learn about the world, they want to help others. So those are some core characteristics. And as an entrepreneur, you need to identify that gap. So each one of you have special interest, special hobby. And who knows, once you graduate, you can turn your hobby into a passion and then something unique that you can promote all across the world. So that's the idea. I was reading through one of the Forbes magazine and I found out an interesting article where one of the entrepreneurs, he found out that everybody, like it was 10 years ago, he found out that everybody's using mobile cell phone. So he found out that there is a need to connect people through the cell phone, and also why not they browse? Why not they have these Google Hangouts and all those kind of things? And from there, they came up with all those different apps. So that's also creativity. So creativity, passion is two important skill. Any other skills do you think entrepreneur needs? Anything else? What about self-determination? Do you think that is important? Self-determination and confidence. Anybody tells you, oh, it's your foolish dream and you cannot achieve it, and you just let go of that, that is not self-determination or confidence. So if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be confident. You need to know what skills you have, then channel it in the right direction. And you have to be a risk taker. Every entrepreneur had been a risk taker. So if you want to start something, a foundation or a technological farm, you know that there will be a lot of barriers. Funding, there will be individuals who are going to tell you that you cannot be successful, but you cannot listen to those things. So you have to take a risk and move ahead. And that's why all the entrepreneurs are fearless. So they are not fearful of the uncertainty. So that's another important skills each one of us should have if you want to be an entrepreneur. Bill Gates, he was an entrepreneur. He started his whole idea from a garage. Then he teamed up with a friend who was very good at marketing and then came up with the whole idea of Microsoft. So those are the things that we need to focus on. Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation, now they are the leading foundation in the world. They had a dream and now they are going for it. So that's why always you need to have a dream, a passion, a confidence, and you have to be a risk taker. I think Bill Gates was a Harvard dropout. Many entrepreneurs were Yale and Harvard dropouts. They wanted to take the risk and go for their dream, but they were confident what they can do. If you do not have the skills, you don't have the confidence, you cannot go with that. So those are some of the interesting things that you need to understand if you want to be an entrepreneur. And beside that, you have to be a relationship builder. Nowadays, in this world, you cannot achieve things all by yourself. So you need to build relationship. And this is one of the platform you're building relationship. So I got to know you girls today. So if you are interested to pursue a master's in the future, or if you are interested to be a part of a nonprofit organization, how to start it, we need some connection. What are the things we should focus on? You can email me. I'm going to provide you all with my email address. So from this session today, you built a connection with me. And you build a connection with the brand forum. And from there, we are going to proceed forward. So this is just one link. But you should not stop it just building this relationship within the classroom setting. Nowadays, you need something extra outside your institutional background. And that is why I'm always advising my students to get involved in different clubs, organizations. If there are some organizations that really interest you, you have a passion for photography, why don't you join a photographic club? You have a passion for student engagement. There are so many student engagement clubs, debating clubs. Get involved in those things. If you want to start a club by yourself, why sit down? Start the club by yourself. There are so many international students here. You can start, if it's not there, you can start an international student club at the university. So that could be another platform where you're going to build a globalized connection. And these are so important because you never know who among your friends could have the skill and that lightning moment to help you move forward. So this is why you need those connections. From one of the examples, when I was in North-South University, me and few of my friends, we started an international, we became a part of an international student organization named ISEC, International Association for Students in Economics and Commerce. So it started in Netherlands, but then we brought the local branch in Bangladesh. And it was mainly focusing on bridging the gap between students all across the world. So 88 student member country all over the world. We used to go to international conferences in India and Switzerland and Netherlands, getting to meet so many people. And also were getting some global skills to communicate with them. And now I have friends in Merrill Lynch. I have friends working in, they are starting their own organization in United Nations, IBM. So if I need any help, I can just go into the Facebook, chat with them, and they are there giving me their advices. And those are the crucial element, the resource we need to move forward in this world. So building relationship is one of the core elements. So try to get that after going to your class, or if you're meeting somebody for the first time, exchange information, email addresses. Keep those for the future. You never know who is going to help you out in the future. So building connection is one of the characteristic, and they are entrepreneurs are relationship builders. Knowledge seeking. You are already in the university setting, so you are seeking knowledge, you are learning each day, but do not stop just learning to get a grade. Try to internalize what you are learning. That is so important. Not just reading a theory, but think about how it can be applied to a real life setting. Without that, you cannot use your knowledge in the real world setting. I have seen so many students who would just memorize to get a good grade, but in the real world, they would get excellent grades in the class, but when they are in the real world setting, they're lost. Because institutional education and real world setting is totally different. And that is why try to get as much as real life experience. If you want to be entrepreneur and you want to learn some skills, get some exposure by volunteering in different organization or going for an internship in those type of organizations. So you learn the basic skills that can be translated into the real world setting. Read newspapers, international journals, magazines. If you are students in economics, read The Economist. If you are a student of business, Business Week, Times, read all those magazines. Then you know what the trend is, and based on that, you can develop yourself. An interesting story, but recently one of my friend's son, he studied abroad and he came back to Bangladesh and he found out a simple bread. He found out that there is just white bread available in Bangladesh. And there is a brown bread, but the quality is not good. So he went to China, and now he wants to start his own bakery that will focus on different types of bread, whole grain bread, multi-grain bread, and organic food. So he found out there is a gap, and he is going to provide quality bread for the Bangladesh market. And that is entrepreneurship. You read, you learn, you travel, and then you try to fill in the gaps. So that's what entrepreneurship is all about. So I talked about determination, I talked about creative thinking, a sense of independence. Each one of you have to be fiercely independent in what you want to pursue. Do not let anybody tell you that because of your gender, because of your responsibility, and because of these things, you cannot achieve what you dream for. So each one of you should go for what you are dreaming about. And that's why you need to be fiercely independent in this world. Get the competitive edge. Try to get all those knowledge, the skills, the idea, the passion, and then become fiercely independent. So that's the core thing you need to be if you want to outshine everybody else in this field. So get those ideas. And another thing I have found out is you have to be an excellent delegator. So delegation, and often being just a CEO of an organization doesn't mean that he or she is an effective delegator. Are you familiar with the term micromanagement? Have you heard the term micromanagement? So there are individuals who would like to do everything for themselves. So that's micromanagement, not letting others be involved in a team. So in this world, you cannot be successful being a micromanager. You have to learn that those who are working for you or those who are your teammates, what skills do they have? When you hire somebody, try to get an idea of what are the strengths, what are the skills they're bringing to the table, and based on that, delegate them in those areas. Find out what they're interested in, and then delegate, motivate. So those are the things an entrepreneur needs to have. So you have to be an effective delegator instead of micromanagement that I am the boss, I'm going to do everything. I'm not going to let anybody else do anything. You cannot be successful. So you have to be an effective delegator. So one of the core 10 basic principles of being an entrepreneur. And a promoter. You need to promote yourself. Whenever you're talking with somebody, whenever you are discussing something, discuss your ideas, your vision, your goals. And that's how you learn how to communicate and connect. Another example is my PhD dissertation was focused on acid survivors victim. So the girls in Bangladesh who were thrown acid and they experienced disfigurement for life. So how computer technology and also different activities can empower them and build them as who they are. So through that journey, it was 3 years of data collection, 3 years of interviewing, ethnographic research, and I found out each one of them has those. Some of those girls has those skills, amazing skills, and I found out that they could utilize those skills to become who they are. And watching that, I started to think about why don't I make a film from their stories. So I'm not going to focus on their tragedy, but I'm going to focus on their triumph. So it was a dream a few months ago, and just in a conference, I was talking with some friends that this is my interest. I want to make a documentary on their lives. And one of my friend in London, through Isaac, and also my friends through whom I met in Netherlands. So I have now friends in 28 different countries all across the world from different nationalities, and they also share the same passion. They went to an international film festival and they were talking about, like, one of my friends, one friend want to make a documentary on the acid survivors. Suddenly a BBC producer, he became interested, like, okay, why don't you contact the friend and let's go through the script. And I'm now working on the script. I met a script writer in Rochester, a filmmaker, the Muslims in America. After 9/11, Mara Ahmed, she made a film like Muslims in America. And now she is working on a film called Partition of India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And she is now giving me all those ideas. Even though I'm not a filmmaker, she's giving me an idea of what shots to take, what are the things to add. If I did not share my vision, if I did not share my dream, if I did not talk about my idea, I would not be able to meet these amazing, wonderful people. So when you come up with some idea, do not keep it within you, but also share. You need to share the stories and you need to share the ideas, and that's how you get things done. So I talked about creativity, confidence, delegation. I talked about relationship building, knowledge seeking, promoting yourself. So more or less, if you focus on these traits, I think each one of you has the power and potential to make a difference in this world. So definitely you can change the world, you can challenge many ideas, and do not limit yourself, and do not fear. Do not let anybody else tell you what you can or what you cannot do. So you have the spirit, you have the soul, so reach for the sky. Always think about the goals and then strategize what you need to do. So more or less, that's in brief my view on entrepreneurship and what are some things you can think about to be an effective entrepreneur. So if you have any questions, then I am open to it. So the floor is yours. I'm not going to talk a lot because I have found in a reading that the students only have 15 minutes of attention span. So even in my lectures, I often give only 15 minutes of lecture and make the students work on different activities. So that's how I work. So I'm not going to talk too much. It should be a two-way street. So if you have anything to say, any comments or any question, the floor is open. Yes, the young lady in the back.
Hello,
Hi.
ma'am.
Hi.
My question is that, like you mentioned very important factors that a person or characteristics that a person should have to start an entrepreneurship. But
Mhm.
like my question is that, some people have very great ideas, they have awesome skills, but, they don't have the that resources necessary or the budget to start with. So,
Mhm.
what I want to know your idea on this. Then I have another question also. So, for example, if some people start their own like business from a small idea,
Right.
how should they know that the time and the money they spend on that thing or they invest is whether it is
It will give the
the
return.
right, yeah, whether it is the right thing to do or not, because they that might be the only budget that they have got. And
Right.
yeah, I just
Good, great question. And I really recommend you for this wonderful question. There is no idea is small idea. Everything starts from small and then it becomes big. And one of the important thing is funding. To tell you the truth, when I came up with the idea of documentary, I had no money. I'm a assistant professor, so I have to have a very strict budget. I have to maintain a house and this and that, so all those kind of things. But I knew that if I have this idea, I'm going to make it happen no matter what. And that's why I started to look for funding. Unbelievably, there are so many funding agencies all across the world who wants to fund small ideas. If you can write an excellent proposal. So I found out Tribeca Film Institute in New York. I was going through funding for women-related film. I just Googled it. So you can fund for small business idea. And it's all, we are now a globalized world. So funding is not limited only in your home country, but also all over the world. So that's another scope. And Tribeca Film Foundation has like a $30,000 or $40,000 funding for exactly the film I am making on. So films that are going to promote women's empowerment. So that's the focus. So now I'm going to write the proposal. I'm going to write. I have to have shoot of 7 minutes of video footage and send it, and hopefully it will work. Not only that, I'm going to look. I'm going to go and visit United Nation organization, UN related organization. So if they are interested, I will be visiting some businesses like Dove. The Dove, the female cosmetics product, because they want to focus on women empowerment. So one of the trick is you need to find out organization and companies that have similar goals and mission. And if you can go and talk to them, provide them with enough strategies and materials that I can make this happen. And if you come up with that idea, you don't have enough skills, try to find those people who have the skill. I am not a filmmaker. I don't have the skill. I just had this idea. I want to make this documentary. So I get to meet script writers. I get to meet the filmmakers who is giving me those skills. If I need to take a short course on script writing, I'm going to go and take a short course in script writing in my university. The one core thing you have to have is the passion to do it. Who knows? It might work, it might not work, but at least I can tell myself that I tried, I took the risk, and I don't have any regret. I don't want to leave this earth having any regret that I didn't try. So that's a very powerful tool. And I don't know if some of you are avid readers. Try to read the book by Paulo Coelho. It's the book. The title is Alchemist. It's an amazing book that is going to empower you. So if you really want something to happen, the universe is going to give you the sign to make things happen. There is no power in the world that is going to stop you from doing it. So that's why you will automatically get the skills, there will be people, but the problem is we don't often read the signs. They are everywhere, but we don't read the sign because we are so much busy with our mundane tasks in our real world. You need a job, you need a career, so put your dreams in the back seat and just go for it. Uh, so sometimes we need to put things in the back seat if you want to pursue your dream, and that is why the entrepreneurs have to be a risk taker. If you do not take risk, you might not achieve it. So great question, but if you do read books, not just your textbook, but books that inspire you, that's also another thing. I have the entrepreneurs, the lifestyles of the entrepreneurs, they read a lot of books, and they are going to provide you with the skills and inspiration and motivation to move forward. But good question. Great, thanks. Anyone else? Yeah.
Um, Hi, Professor. My name is Bích Trần. I'm from Vietnam.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. So, entrepreneurship is very difficult, but social entrepreneurship is more difficult. So, last summer, I met some entrepreneurs in Vietnam, and they face so many difficulties in doing their social entrepreneurship. Like for some of them, they have organizations for disabled people, helping students, helping women, and to do some handicraft, but the product. The
Mm-hmm.
product cost is very high. So they cannot survive. The
Um,
company,
so if I, some of your, it is coming up muffled. So if I understand, I can repeat the question. So there are social barriers for a woman to achieve certain areas. Is that your question?
no, it's like, so there are companies, there are entrepreneurs in Vietnam who do invest in women and children and disabled people to help them. Make,
Uh,
for example, they make some handicrafts, some like some products. But still, those products are very high cost, with very high cost.
High
So
cost.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the profit is not enough for them to survive. And like after 5 years of operation, they
Mm-hmm.
don't have any benefit, like any
Oh,
profit. So,
okay.
like, how to overcome those difficulties is like
Right.
market or those have a better strategy to create more
Mm.
profit. Again, reinvest in women and those with disabilities.
Right, good question. If I get it right, so after 5 years, 5 years of operation for the financial reason, some of those projects were shut down. So was that okay? In that case, often if your government is not helping you out, there are organization. If it is organization under, with the focusing on the disability, right? The disability, individual with disability. There is hundreds of organizations internationally who are willing to provide with the fund, but you need to communicate. And that's the thing. We need to be effective communicator and promoter. So find those organizations. If the organization has shut down, why don't you just stop and ask them to write an excellent proposal. Try to get some individual who are great at grant writing. And grant writing skill is one of the important skill I think everybody should have. Just go online and find some sample grants. And you can download those samples, write those goals, the mission. So if you have everything in order, I think definitely those organizations can sustain and find an excellent grant in different parts. In the United States of America, there are organizations who are providing fund in Vietnam and South Asian region, also in Vietnam and China and different other parts of the world. And they are more than willing to provide fund for a good proposal. So these type of organizations should look into external funding. Those are the resources that can help.
Yeah, another question is like the product, what they produce. Some
Sorry?
of the product, yeah, the product, what they produce are not meeting the market. So either they are not high quality, or either they're so cost, like the price is so high that no one want to buy.
So the product that no one will buy.
Like they don't have the market. Like for example, if you
Okay.
if you hire disabled people and you have machines too, so the cost is very high, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then you look at the market, the price is not that high, and they have
Um,
the option too. Yeah.
right. But sometimes you need to create the market. Even if the market is not there, with your creativity, you can show examples and then start creating market. Just imagine there wasn't a market for tea in Bangladesh or in India. When the British came, they provided us with like free tea to everybody for an year, and then we were hooked onto it. And now we are a tea drinking nation. So sometimes, even if there is not a market, you have to come up with some creative idea, innovative idea to create and build that market. Make people see why they need it, show them examples, and then you can build your own market. Another interesting example would be whoever thought about, are you familiar with bungee jumping? Jumping with the rope from the rooftop or from the hill or the bridge. Whoever in their right mind would think that there is a market for that, for bungee jumping? Some people, crazy people jumping off the cliff. But somebody came up with this idea, they found it fun, and they showed it in the media, in the YouTube, all those different places, and then it became a market. So those who are adventure seekers, they are going to go for bungee jumping. So there is even a market for bungee jumpers. So even if you see that there is not a market here today, you can create a market for tomorrow. So definitely you can think about it, your friends, sit with your friends, like how to create that market. And you can do that.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Well, any other questions? I hope it helped. That's great. No questions. You got all, you girls are all inspired to go for your dreams. If I can only make only one or even two of you inspired, then this session means something. If not, then it's not. So my advice for you is just go beyond the ideas of institutional education. Definitely, the institutional education is going to give us the skills. I went for my PhD, the highest level of education, and it gave me the skill to communicate, to meet people. But not only that, I also kept my eyes open in what we need in this world. So you need to think about that. So keep your minds open, be conscious about what are the things that are happening, and build a work ethic. So that's very important. You need to have a work ethic if you want to succeed. Time management, another skill. You have to start possessing that. So time management, work skill, balancing your life. So those not only work, but you need to play as well. So those who play and work can achieve the highest growth. So have fun with what you're doing. If you do not enjoy what you're doing, you cannot be successful. So that's very important of enjoying what you are doing. Work, job, studying, just try to find the fun out of it. And then we can do a lot of things. So that's my two words from the short life of what I have experienced till now, till far a long way to go. I'm still learning and growing from everybody. Each day I'm learning from my students as well. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Not too much of my lecturing for you all.
Professor, how can we contact you? Contact you.
Thank you very much. Did I get to your question?
How can I contact you?
I'll give you her email address.
Yeah.
She's asking how can she contact you? So I'm telling them
Oh,
that.
okay. Please forward my email address to her. I'm going. It's very short. My name is Rehnuma. So it's REH. I think Ratul will give you my email address. So it's rehnuma.karim, REHNUMA dot KARIM at gmail.com. So that's my email address. I think he has that and he can forward it to all of you. And you're most welcome to email me or contact me with anything. So do not hesitate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, before we finish off the session,
Mhm.
so we want to take a photograph with the students with you in the project with the teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Technology, long distance. I wish I was there with you all. Thank you.
Thank you for having.
Thanks.
I will definitely.
Enjoy and have a good one.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
So should I love this? On the table?
Yeah.